This video is going to be on the topic of faith and belief. And I wasn't planning to make this video. The idea to talk about it just came to me. So I decided to share it. Also, I can't sleep, so might as well do something. All right. I would like to address first how most people think of faith, or what they think it is, or just the idea of what it is, right? So it's something that mainly, I assume, comes from religion, and to them, faith is believing, right? Believing in things even if you cannot find the evidence or see it through. It's just that you keep the beliefs, right? And I guess that's a very simple version of saying what faith is. But after I left my time in a religious cult, and I figured everything out, and faith started to have a different meaning to me. So I would like to suggest the distinction here with faith. To me, faith is what is supposed to overcome fear. That's what faith is to me, right? And many people don't recognize that while belief is a belief, we have fear beliefs, right? And sometimes we have to be, more mindful about what it is that we believe in. And the reason why is because many people, especially in religion, but many people do not believe as believers. They fear as believers. They're afraid of what will happen to them if they stop believing. They're afraid of their identity is no longer going to be created by a belief system, and that they would have to figure that out themselves, which is what I had to do, which, yes, took a lot of faith, but I was also really scared the entire time. But I'd still say I had faith because I didn't give up in overcoming this, and overcoming these shadows of mine, and the uncertainty, and the anxiety, and the stress, and the depression, and just a whole bunch of stuff, right? It's just, I kept going, and at the time it felt like fear, but it wasn't until I kept up and I didn't give up. I guess you could say I believed in myself, or I just believed enough, barely, to make it through the other side. And my friend Glitch told me that behind fright there is light, right? So what I'm trying to say is that faith would actually lead you closer to the light. It would actually help you overcome the fears. Okay? And this is what shadow works is all about, right? When you have a shadow, you identify with that shadow so much that you don't even know what the light side of you could be like, or how could it exist, or how could it be loved, or how could that even happen, right? You don't know that side of it. You're only familiar with that which is in your shadow, in your comfort zone, right? And going outside that comfort zone would be really scary. You would feel the fear, right? Um, but like my friend, he told me, behind fright there is light. If you believe that, well, then you have faith to overcome your shadow and to realize that there's actually something better on the opposite side of fear. Right? So that's why I like to think of it like faith. Faith is a bit of courage. It's a bit of belief, but it is. But to me, faith isn't blind. I guess in some surface level ways of looking at the definition of faith, I guess you could say that. But to me, I want to talk about it in a deeper way. Because most people have fear beliefs and they get stuck in their comfort zone. They also have these beliefs of keeping faith and being, faithful and believing. And it's not so much that they're having faith in the beliefs. They are having a crazy, obedience with it. And I'm trying to figure out how to say it the right way. Like I said, they don't believe as believers, they fear as believers. I don't know if many people recognize the significance of what I just said. But anyway, I kind of lost my train of thought. I'll remember it. Hold on. Oh yes, the obedience, right? Like they're being told that being obedient is going to take them to like that light, right? That's going to help them. That's going to, deliver all these promises, right? But the silly thing is that your fear beliefs don't actually take you to the light. In fact, they put more pressure on you to double down when things are not going towards the light. And that hurts you even more, and you get even more intense shadows. I forgot my train of thought again. I keep forgetting. But yeah, another thing is that depending on the belief or belief system, there's a big push for humility, but not in a healthy way, but in a way where you're not good enough, or you're unworthy, or you're messed up, or you're dirty, or you're something like that. And that humility is what's supposed to drive a person's faith, or you could say exploration, or you could say seeing things a different way, right? And it is those who are the most humble are those who can also be the most helped, right? That's one of the reasons, at least that I remember in religion, about how a person's lack of humility, a person's pride, or you could say a person's ego. Of course, they didn't use the word ego in religion, for good reason too. But how that can prevent from the faith to help you get over to the light. That can prevent that from happening. And so people get stuck in their limiting beliefs. They get in their comfort zone. They get into deeper shadows. They double down. And if they are still holding on and they still want to believe in these limiting things, despite the fact that it's shown them how it's hurting them and that it's not benefiting them, well, then they're not really going to receive any help. Right? They're not going to be able to deal with it. And sometimes this could lead to victim mentality, right? Um, and anyway, going back to like humility, there's like a part of humility that's like the unhealthy part. You could say like the shadow side of it, where it's feeling shame, it's feeling unworthy, and there's like a shadow there to try to accept yourself and to love yourself more. And the belief system that caused you to feel that way in the first place um, is is actually wanting you to be in that state, so that way they can control you even more, right? um and I this is like the fourth time like I'm forgetting what I'm saying. Oh my goodness. um so okay, well, I'm just gonna keep going. So I wanted to like draw a distinction here, you know, between, you know, like the surface level faith that people think it is, the deeper layer of faith, how I learned it to be, and also the idea of limiting beliefs, not necessarily coming from religion, but just limiting beliefs about ourselves that we get from life in general, right? Because we are also affected by this as well, regardless of where your limiting belief came from. If they came from a belief system or if they came from some kind of trauma, um, either way, we kind of tend to hurt ourselves or judge ourselves in a certain way, where it may not be, you know, from, well, you know what, it might actually be from a sense of lack of self-worth and self-love and self-esteem and self-acceptance and all these kinds of things. That's literally the insecurity that comes from our shadow. These judgments are limiting beliefs. um, you know, our ego identifies with these things, and wherever our ego is, wherever our identity is, that's where our fear is, right? And the ego doesn't want to let go of an identity, even if it's healthy to let go of it. The ego is not very picky on what it chooses um, to be programmed with, or what it chooses to fulfill. On some level, there is some psychological egotistical need that's just our natural psychology. And I don't mean to use ego in a negative, you know, way, because it's not negative. Some people want to demonize ego, but that is very counterproductive, because if you demonize ego, you're judging it, and you're going to attract more of that karma to you about ego to begin with. Um, so hopefully any person who's actually spiritual would like understand that concept, that demonizing ego is not quite in alignment with the with the philosophy. Um, all right. I don't know why I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting what I'm going to say next. um, yes, but anyway, like this idea of faith, this idea of fear, this idea of ego, and the shadows in our beliefs, like this is something that we all have to deal with. Okay. Um, and and I hope that made sense. I hope that made sense. Um, in my mind, I said it a lot more concise, but for some reason, I keep forgetting what I'm going to say next. I'm trying to see if I'm forgetting anything. Am I forgetting anything? Oh, yeah, I just remembered. When I was in my time in a religious cult, I had a lot of anxiety, but I also had anxiety in general. Um, and there is a band called 21 Pilots that I listened to a lot, because I felt like the singer Tyler Joseph wrote lyrics that really resonated with how anxious I felt. And as I was thinking about making this video, a song came to mind, and it's called Car Radio by 21 Pilots, and I'll link it below, because he also says something about faith too that resonated strongly with me. And I think that's it. I think that's it. I think this concept that I brought about can be built upon, but it'll probably be built upon later, or when I make the connection too, because I feel like there's more to it that can be added to it, but I just can't think of anything right now. So anyway, over and out.